The survivors of the Sierra Madre thought
О,
about gathering at the
устал я,
fountain
устал
waiting for the
от Сьерра Мадре.
In the end, the caller's silence made them uneasy, and the fear of turning on each other made them hesitate and leave the
Слова
goodbyes.
прощания остались несказанными. Все
The radio
разбежались.
message at the fountain was enough for them, and there was no need to add another farewell on top of all they had suffered.
Dog forgot himself, as did the voice that raged within him. After their passing, a new voice
Новый
spoke
голос
within the
родился в
mutant
оболочке
shell.
мутанта.
It was difficult for the voice to remember the two it once was. There was the beast, dog,
Такая музыка тут
by hunger,
грустная, что аж плакать
and the
хочется.
other in reverse, the one consumed by control.
Аллилуйя,
Both
да,
were driven by need
дождались.
for the other.
Наконец-то это
The
DLC
courier brought
мрачное
them together
закончилось.
somehow, joined the two into one. All that
Кто ищет,
happened at
тот
the Sierra
найдет. Ну,
Madre
прекрасно,
was a
прекрасно.
faint memory to the new personality,
Еще опыт.
like a flickering light in the clouds of the mind. The new voice did not think of the courier again until the battle at the divide reached his ears.
Битве в
The
разломе.
battle between the
Ну
two
чё, в разлом,
couriers,
да?
beneath the torn skies and the
Да видим.
old world flag, each bearing a message for the other. And the mutant prayed the courier that had saved him had been saved
Мутант
in
вознес
return.
молитву о
Ding
спасении курьера.
Domino, entertainer, singer, thief, explored the Sierra Madre not long after he was rescued by the courier. Once he left the theater, the Sierra Madre recognized him as a guest, and many doors opened to him. He had to admit it had been built to last.
Может, Зайон? Я тоже так думал,
During
но
his
вот вроде
search,
уже...
he came across the final records of
Вроде уже
Vera
кто-то
and
сказал, что
Sinclair,
давай
and
разлом, давай
realized what
разлом.
happened the night the bombs fell. He felt strangely sad for a moment, and he had no idea why. Shrugging it off, his mind turned instead to where the courier had come from. Vegas still survived, out there in the Mojave. Its sights, sounds, and casinos, ripe for the taking. So, giving the Sierra Madre one last nod and a wink, he set off beyond the cloud to begin again.
Christine,
Направился
her mission complete.
в Вегас,
Found
чтобы
new
начать все
purpose as
сначала.
the Sierra Madre's warden. She watched over it silently, by choice. Over time, the ghost people came to see her as one of the holograms. They would watch, silently, as she walked among them. At times, Christine thought of the courier, who had kept Elijah's hand from her throat. The courier reminded her of the other.
Вот же, блин, не повезло ей. Она бегала за этим Элайджей, а потом пришел курьер и убил его. Запер, точнее, в этом, в Сьерра Мадре.
The two couriers fought beneath an ancient flag at the edge of the world.
А ты тут не один играешь под мой стрим.
We all have the legend, the curses.
Some foolishness about it lying in the middle of a city of dead.
A city of ghosts, beneath a blood-red cloud.
A bright, shining monument, reaching out, luring treasure hunters to their doom. An illusion.
A promise that you can change your fortunes. Begin again.
Finding it, though. That's not the hard part. It's letting go.
It's letting go.
It's letting go.
It's letting go. It's letting go.
Такие дела.
The divide erupted in fire as the flame
Может быть.
trail of the two couriers' last message
Разлом
arced
взорвался
into the
огнем.
sky. Missiles fell on the east, and the Legion
Может и так.
encampment at Dry Wells,
Лагерь легионов
Twisted
Драйвеллс, где
Ears had
косоплеты
allied
сначала стали
and been
союзниками
betrayed
легиона, затем
by
были преданы
Wolpus
Вульпе
and
Санкт-Петербург.
Kaiser.
А, ну это,
Legion
кстати,
soldiers
Улис Косоплет.
died, their silhouettes
То есть ему как бы немножечко насрать на легионеров.
The last word of the last of the twisted hairs.
Так что, я думаю, он меня простит.
A way of erasing the road that had led to this point and the history that had walked with it.
Ты остался недвижим на военной базе. Это очень грустно. Сожалею о утрате Эде.
Hopeville burned lightless in the night, invisible fires of radiation scorching it from within and without.
Чё ты у Эде не попросил? Я его не смог достать из капсулы. Почему-то.
With a tattered jacket, an old
Не
world
получилось.
flag etched on the back. He remained there.
А в 2009-м этой игры не было.
For the scars he left on the wastes, or a reminder of a history he could not.
Игра вышла в 2010-м, насколько мне известно.
His journey was over. The courier had been the end.
Но прикол в том, что эта игра осталась крутой.
As for the courier,
То есть это классика. Это знать надо.
For the second time, and made his way back, navigating the treachery of the divide. Tunnelers and the marked men avoided the lone figure, as if recognizing the courier's right to passage, or
Туннельщики и меченые избегали встречи с одинокой фигурой. Ну сейчас, конечно.
Until he stood again upon the edge of the divide, the last road he would walk before the second battle for Hoover Dam. There, beside his feet,
под ногами была последняя посылка от одного курьера другому, ящик, в котором лежали подарок и послание.
A footlocker, bearing a gift, and a message. But that message, it is something for couriers to carry, and for them alone. The lights flickered across the divide, reminder that the old world histories persist and find meaning in the present. It said, war
Говорят, война всегда одна.
Men do. Through the roads they walk. And this road has reached its end.
Разрешился конфликт между новыми ханаанитами и белоногими. Белоногие все померли. Вторгаясь воспоминания о казни, которую учинил на соль раны Джошуа Грэхэм, выжившие белоногие вернулись на Большое Соленое озеро. Бррр. Короче, не буду я читать, потому что я читаю монотонно. Короче, белоногие обосрались. Кроме тебя еще 12 человек. 11.
When spring came, the survivors parted ways in small bands, and so the Whitelegs died a quiet, ignominious death.
The Sorrows fought beside Joshua Graham and the dead horses, eradicating the threat the Whitelegs posed to Zion. Watching as the courier encouraged Joshua Graham to execute salt upon wounds, the Sorrows learned that New Canaan offered no mercy to the wicked.
Превращение скорбящих из мирного племени в беспощадных воинов разбило сердце Дэниела. Ой, как грустно-то сразу стало.
The Sorrows became ever more ruthless in their dealings, even with each other. Daniel traveled to and fro between the New Canaanites and Zion, continuing to plead for a return to the old ways whenever he visited.
Даже что-то жаль белоногих. Ты что, издеваешься, что ли? Мне вот не очень. Спасибо за стрим. Да, нет проблем. Сохранили нейтралитет по отношению к скорбящим, но со временем стали вспыхивать конфликты.
The new Canaanites, Daniel especially, intervened regularly as mediators. but found it difficult to reconcile the tribe's conflicts.
The defeat of the Whitelegs and Zion marked a turning point in the fortunes of the Happy Trails Caravan Company. Every 2 months,
каждые 2 месяца караван отправлялся в Зайон для обмена товарами с новыми хананитами. Добрый путь вновь стал процветающей компанией.
Initially startling to Happy Trails caravans, soon proved a blessing.
Все, конец стрима. Нет, сейчас я еще выгружу лут и сделаю перерыв, да. Казалось скорбящим и мертвым лошадям разорвать на части и сжечь тела врагов. Разорвать на части. Так.
And soon the new Canaanites and tribes of Zion were feared well into the Mojave. Legends of the Burned Man grew even more depraved and terrifying.
For years after the defeat of the Whitelegs, Daniel did his best to minister to the Sorrow's spiritual needs.
Короче, одному Дэниелу плохо. Все остальные только выиграли от этого.
He returned to his family and Dead Horse Point.
Хардкор или стандарт, не знаю, поиграй на стандарте. Да как хочешь. Ну ладно, давайте посмотрим, чем это закончилось вообще. Я 2 часа прохожу это DLC, получается, уже 3 часа. С учетом прошлого стрима. Оберегал и заботился, хранил открытие. Открылась возможность поставить на пользу людям, да.
Past the laboratories and science, it had always been intended as a place to build the future of all mankind.
Although, truth be told, the courier had barely explored the crater in an attempt to rush
through стремлении побыстрее сделать дело за 3 часа. Ништяк.
Curiosity, while sometimes rewarded for its efforts, often proves to be equally dangerous.
Dr. Mobius continued his research undisturbed in the Forbidden Zone. As much as he had attempted to create better scorpions, he tried the same with humanity.
Пытался улучшить людей, что ли?
Success. These failures didn't bother him over much. Once the rush of mentats wore off, he forgot he had failed in any event. After all, the bright young mind who had come to visit him in the Forbidden Zone had already exceeded his expectations.
The sink was strangely silent, which it had never been in previous years. The lack of personality modules made the base lifeless and sterile.
Их можно все равно потом включить.
Always gentle and methodical.
Все эти модули.
Up the courier in all the right places when the skin split open from repeated wear and tear. The Autodoc was just glad to have purpose again. It heard its simpler brothers and sisters who got shipped to the Sierra Madre were bored out of their skulls in that toxic dead city. In time, the Autodoc found a way to deactivate the Y-17 trauma harnesses, releasing the corpses they had held prisoner for almost 200 years.
As the courier ran through the X-8 facility multiple times, the computers analyzed the test subject's movements. Rather than performing a superficial observation, they realized the subject barely knew what communism was, or even what a high school was. This confused them for a time, until the facility finally realized that its research had succeeded. So it let its cyber dogs out into the wastes to help protect small communities from physical aggression rather than communist propaganda.
The infiltration program in X-13 felt spent, having repeatedly upgraded the stealth suit until it could upgrade it no more. It felt warm, fulfilled, and a bit sluggish.
Броня ушла, не оставив даже записки на подушке. Ну, угадайте, с кем она ушла.
So much as a note on the nightstand. So the infiltration program sent out robo-brains into the wastes, looking for its wayward technology. It eventually found Repcon HQ and set up a new research center, testing and murdering fiends who kept breaking into the facility.
Собака Рокси сделала... А! Да, точно. С Рексом же это, собственно, потомство развели. Вывели. А дети у них сразу, короче, кибернетизированные почему-то. Я этого, конечно, не понимаю.
The courier, organs intact, continued onwards, a little less heavy of step, but with all the organs in the right places, as they should be. After all, brains can develop a life of their own when left to their own thoughts, and the courier's brain was more clever than most.
Dr. Klein and the think tank remained alive, unaware of the world outside. They looped through their daily routine, none the wiser about the world beyond, although perhaps wiser.
В общем, оставил я их в большой гарем.
The world outside belonged to the courier, and if anyone would shape it, well, the courier had already.
Но мог бы поделиться кусочком Мохаве.
There is an expression in the wasteland, old world blues.
It refers to those so obsessed with the past they can't see the present, much less the future, for what it is.
They stare into the what was, eyes like pilot lights, guttering and spent, as the realities of their world continue on around them.
Science is a long, steady progression into the future. What may seem a sudden event often isn't felt for years, even centuries.
Ну, в общем, нормально завершили. Наверное, пора отключаться. Вечером еще заведу стримчанский. Будем заканчивать с Нью-Вегасом. По-любому.
Technology unchecked as the source of all ills, all misfortunes.
With the courier at the helm, science became a beacon for the future. There was old world blues, and new world hope. And hope ruled the day at Big Mountain.
We could say more, but the stories in the Big Empty speak for themselves. Now armed with the transportal Ponder, the courier could return to the dome at any time and crack open the secrets of the Big Empty one by one. The sink sat vigilant, waiting for its master to return. Shoes covered in Mojave dust.
Да, давай, пока.
One road yet remained, and it was one the courier had to walk alone.
Закончили игру за НКР. Курьер, обманувший смерть на кладбище близ Гуспрингса, обманул ее снова на пустоши Мохаве. Пустоши Мохаве изменились навсегда. Полный контроль над пустошью. Полный контроль у НКР. Переговоры об аннексии Стрипа и Сайда.
The Mojave Wasteland at long last
Конечно, сегодня полностью встала под флаги НКР. Короче, захапали себе все, что можно в Мохаве. НКР рассыпала почестями, наградили золотой ветвью. Даже мистер Хаус оказался более щедрым, чем НКРовцы.
Eventually, the stories concerning the duo were collected and published, and proved to be quite popular with children.
Still grappling with self-doubt over his usefulness in the face of old
Рауль не смог найти себе покоя. Вот это надо было. Ну, можно было его квест пройти.
With the help of the Gunrunners, the Boomers developed a healthy trading relationship with the NCR.
Но бомбисты остались
независимыми от НКР.
The Brotherhood and the NCR in the Mojave Wasteland declared an official truce, despite continued hostilities between the two in the West. As per their agreement, the NCR handed over all suits of salvaged power armor, and in return, the Brotherhood helped patrol I-15 and Highway 95.
Never weakened by NCR. The Fiends staged an attack against Camp McCarran during the Second Battle of Hoover Dam. Though NCR repulsed the Fiends, they suffered heavy losses in the process.
КР понесла огромные потери.
The followers of the
Apocalypse were pushed out of
Old Norman Fort during its occupation by NCR forces.
Не прошел.
NCR further encouraged them to leave Outer Vegas entirely, and the followers had no choice but to comply.
Arcade had hoped that Freeside would be able to remain independent of NCR rule. But he was glad that Caesar's Legion had been stopped at Hoover Dam. He tended to the sick in Freeside for a while longer, then returned to NCR territory to become a teacher with the followers there.
Goodsprings saw more trade along I-15 after NCR gained control of the Mojave Wasteland. But with that came a heavy burden of the Republic's taxes. Some old-timers, unable to handle the cost, were forced to move on, grumbling all the while.
During the Battle of Hoover Dam, the Great Khans quickly evacuated Red Rock Canyon and headed north and east into the plains of Wyoming. There, they reconnected with the followers of the Apocalypse and rebuilt their strength. Bolstered by ancient knowledge of governance, economics, and transportation, they carved a mighty empire out of the ruins of the Northwest.
Thanks to the Courier and Lily, a cure for the Nightkin's schizophrenia was found shortly after Dr. Henry's experiment concluded. Nightkin and other super mutants in the wasteland flocked to Jacobstown, and the town became known as a haven where a mutant could find peace.
Джейкобстаун-то НКРовцы не
continued to
аннексировали.
take her medicine at half
Видимо, тоже независимым
and
остался.
although she remembered her grandchildren, her mind remained muddled and confused. Eventually, she parted ways with the Courier and traveled west, seeking the remnants of her past.
After the NCR victory at Hoover Dam, the temporary truce between them and the Kings blossomed into a full-scale relief effort for the people. While the NCR made repeated entreaties that Freeside join the Republic, the Kings steadfastly maintained their independence.
After Ray's brain was transplanted into Rex's cybernetic body, it took Rex some time to adjust to the old scrapyard dog's memories.
Поздравляю, спасибо. Дальше надо посмотреть, какое прохождение в вопросе.
Shaped up by the Courier's advice, the Misfits distinguished themselves during the Legion's attack on Camp Golf. Mags was finally promoted to sergeant, and the rest of the Misfits received an official commendation. They continued to serve with distinction for many years.
Though Novak was a low-priority target for the Legion, many of Novak's citizens died in its defense. In the weeks that followed, several bright followers returned to Novak to help restore its defenses, allowing it to remain independent of NCR.
The leaderless powder gangers at the correctional facility vanished into the wastes, leaving the prison empty. The correctional facility became another abandoned ruin in the wasteland, its carcass occasionally picked over by enterprising prospectors.
Пропали.
The majority of the Vault 19 powder gang
Подрывники из убежища 19 присоединились к Ханам.
Throughout the Mojave Wasteland. Though a few managed to erase their past, most never survived the journey.
After Hoover Dam, NCR helps rebuild Prim as a major stopping point on the Long 15. Though Prim citizens chafe under NCR's taxes, they benefit greatly from the increased protection and merchant traffic.
After the death of Chief Hanlon, the power of NCR's Rangers was broken for years. Their organization, so reliant on the wisdom and guidance of its elder members, became a shadow of what it once was to people across the wasteland.
After their bold arrival at Hoover Dam, the remnants disappeared as quickly as they came. Legends of their power spread throughout the Southwest, a reminder of why people once feared the sight of vertibirds in the sky.
And so the Courier's road came to an end.
Ну вот и все.
In the new world of the Mojave Wasteland, fighting continued, blood was spilled, and many lived and died just as they had in the old world. Because war never
Война всегда одна, да. Ну вот такие дела. Так вот закончилась Компания за НКР и без убийств.